Welcome to the AlmighTees channel. In this week's episode is part 3 of the multi-part series, My Journey into and Through the Screen Printing Industry. If you haven't seen part 1 and part 2, I really recommend you either go to the playlist on our channel or I've linked those videos in the description. So without further ado, let's talk about that next. So with the last video, I never really finished up where I left off with ScreenText. ScreenText eventually ended up closing. My memory doesn't serve me as to why exactly. I think it had to do with we just didn't have enough clients and they just couldn't keep it open due to a lack of work. So it left me without a job, and then I decided to go ahead and go to the local unemployment office and file for unemployment. I received my benefits, and then that also gave me an opportunity to start seeking where else I might be able to find a job. And seeing that I was so far away from Columbia, which is where the majority of the screen printing companies were at the time, it left me with very little options other than to, if I wanted to continue in this journey, I was going to have to try to find a screen printing job. So what I ended up doing was I ended up finding a job looking in the classifieds in our local paper for a manual screen printer. Now, if you ever watched part 2, you'll know that I really didn't have much experience manually screen printing in the sense of a rotary press like we're all familiar with today. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, like I said, go back and watch that video and it'll kind of explain how I had learned how to print manually. But on this occasion, what I ended up was able to do was I had enough experience to at least get a job, and I got a job at a company called AlmighTees Screen Printing on Bush River Road in Columbia, South Carolina. Now I show up for work the first day, and he had 2 jobs ready to go. He was an older man, and he and his wife owned and ran this company. He had a 4-color process job set up and a cap job set up. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't have as much experience and had printed neither, to be perfectly honest with you. So he asked me which one did I choose. I tried to there was a screen on the cap press that was clogged, and I was trying to use some solvent to get the ink stuck out of the print area. And then I also, and that wasn't working out real well for me, so he recommended, why don't you try to jump on this other job, which was 4-color process. And for those of you that have never manually printed 4-color process, if you're not familiar with it or don't have much experience, it can be quite a learning experience and a learning curve, and which I had very little of. So what ended up happening was that I started printing, and I kind of knew that I wasn't really doing as good of a job as I knew he was probably looking for me to do. And by the end of the day, he came to me and he basically gave me the check for my day's work and told me that it wasn't working out, and I completely understand. I know that it was a photograph, it was 4-color process, it was a photograph, had pictures of some people on it, and I just remember some of the people's faces were really red in a couple of them, they were really yellow in another one, so I was very inconsistent, and then I was back there again now without a job. So I kept looking around in the local papers, and I found another manual screen printing a job that was opening, and I went there, a place called Champ Screen Printing in West Columbia. I got the job, and that's kind of really where I got the majority of my feet wet, really learning how to screen print manually. They had a lot of, they were real big Lawson people. They had a lot of Lawson presses. I remember my first press was a HD Max 6-color. I believe it was a 4-station with the auto flash. You hit the little button and it would turn the flash over onto the where your palette was set so that you could flash. And then you did that at every turn. It's the only place I ever worked that had one of those auto flashes. But that lasted about a year, and my old buddy from ScreenText, my old boss, had contacted me about a year into working at Champs and just really getting the hang of manual screen printing. Bill calls me and lets me know that he knows of a company in Colombia that is looking for an artist. And since that's where I cut my majority of my teeth, really was on separations and doing artwork, I jumped at the chance to be able to get back in the art department and further my skills in computer graphics. So I went in for the interview. He liked me. He liked my experience. Bill vouched for me, so I was able to kind of get in the door that way. And it goes back to saying one of the things that I often use and I talk about, and that many people will use this quote, is not what you know, but who you know. And in this instance, that did pay true. And I got the job, and I ended into the next part of my journey in the screen printing industry, which was working for this company called America's Best. And they were another very large contract screen printing company. I hope you found this video helpful and informative. Thank you for watching. If you don't mind, would you give it a thumbs up? Even consider subscribing? And don't forget to hit that notification bell, and you'll be alerted whenever we upload new content. We really appreciate you. We hope that you continue to go along on the ride with us on this journey. We thank you. We'll see you in the next video.